What up? What up? It's Pastor G. It's late night, but I felt so impressed to make this video. And I want to speak to you that are under sound of my voice. You are in for a major transition. This is a major transitional season for the body of Christ, especially those that have been in servantship. God has seen your service. For those of you that have been in the background, God is about to move you forward. It's your season. You are about to experience or live the thing that you were actually birthed for. God has seen your service. And because of your faithfulness, he's moving you now to the forefront. Now, most of you that are experiencing this transition, you are not even asking for the lead position. But because your heart was so pure in your fellowship, in your servantship, God is saying you have been faithful and he's moving you to the forefront. But I must tell you that this is going to be a difficult transition for the reasons you got what it takes to be in the position that God desires. But you're going to come under so much fire and so much challenge and so much attack from the enemy. You will feel attack from places that you thought that you would never see an attack from. You will hear things from people that you thought you would never hear it from, because they're not going to understand this transition season. They're not going to understand you saying that God is moving you to a specific or the thing that he birthed you for, because you are so important and you've been so vital to what they were doing, and that's understandable. So I want you to fortify yourself to hear, but you cannot deny what God had sanctioned. You are moving from the back to the front. Get ready. God said he's seen your faithfulness. He's seen you serve with joy. Now he needs you to come to the forefront. There's a time that has been in destiny, and now is the time. Here it is. You're going to hear that you are not a good servant when you make the decision or you make the announcement that it's time for me to move. Here's what God is saying. Don't listen or don't let it stop when you hear that you are not a good servant. Here's what God is saying to you. You were so focused on serving one person, but now he is creating a moment for you to serve many. He's moving you from just focusing on one to being a servant. You still have a servant's heart. This is why he's calling you in this season, because of your heart to serve. But you will come under scrutiny because you were so focused on one person. Now God says, no, you will be focused on a multitude. He's putting you in a position of leader. Remember, this is not something that you prayed for. This is not something that you desire. But God, seeing your faithfulness, he created you for such a time as this. There will be scrutiny, but you keep it moving. You keep it moving. You keep it moving. You cannot stop. You cannot stop in this season. The world, the body of Christ needs you right now. The world needs your gift right now. The world needs your level of servantship right now. The world needs your heart. This is why God is pulling. He can trust you with this because you did not ask for it. And I'm going to be doing a whole series on this, and I felt so impressed to kick this off tonight. I will be doing 1 Samuel, the 21st chapter. This is interesting because David is in the moment of transitioning from just being a servant to coming into his kingship. Now we know in the prior chapters he served Saul well. He played when evil spirit came. He was there to play when Saul was challenged by Goliath. The fight of Goliath was actually initially Saul's fight, but David stepped in. And so many of you right now, you did whatever it took to be a good servant. But God is transitioning you right now into greater measures. And now I want to read from 1 Samuel 21, verse 1. I'm going to go in this series. I'm going to do this series called The Transition. I'm going to go from verse 1 throughout this entire passage. And God is going to build a framework in your mind to help you transition into greater life. You are great, and now greatness is calling your name, and you are going to answer. 1 Samuel chapter 21, verse 1. I'm just going to deal with verse 1 tonight. These videos won't be very long, but they'll be informative because I know that there's people right now that are in transition. God's seen your heart. He's pulling you. It's your time. Embrace this moment. Here it is. The first verse of chapter 21, 1 Samuel 21, verse 1. It says, Then came David to Nob, to Ahimelech the priest. And Ahimelech was afraid at the meeting of David, and said unto him, Why art thou alone, and no man with thee? This is a very interesting passage, and I want to unpack it, because here's what you're about to experience. David goes down to a place that he is familiar with, and the priests are familiar with him. But in this transitional season, God has just done something different to shift him into his moment. Here's what is incredible about this passage. Ahimelech, who's familiar with David, now is afraid of David. Why? Because he sensed something that it was not alerted him about. It's very important that you get this. It was not told him. He knows that there's something different about this moment, and I didn't get a memo. Here's what's about to happen. God is about to shift you and give you a prompt that he's not alerting the persons that you are accustomed to hear say that it's your time or you are ready to move. Please hear that. Please hear this. Please hear it. Please hear this very clear. God is shifting you. He's already prompted you to make a move. As a matter of fact, he's already caused the scenario for you to move. And he did not alert the people that you would go to ask advice from. And so now they are afraid because they are sensing something different that they didn't get a memo on. God is not obligated. Please hear me in this transitional season. God is not obligated to tell anyone but you. I know we've always been told if God is going to prompt me, he should prompt somebody else before he prompts me. My brothers and sisters, that's not true in this instance. God, there are things that he reserved unto himself. He unleashes it at the level of maturity. When God stops alerting other people about what he's doing in you, he's telling you that you are mature enough now to hear yourself. And so this transitional season, there will be people that usually got the memo of your transition or your next move that God did not alert in this season. That does not mean that God is not with you. He's saying, I'm doing something different. I'm pulling you from the back to the front, and you have got to get accustomed to hearing direct from God. Now, here's what the text said. And it says Ahimelech was afraid. Now, when people get afraid because they were not alerted to what is happening, they start saying things. So don't be surprised at what you hear from people that you thought that you would never hear it from. People that you thought, are you following me here? People that you would thought would never. The song says by India Ari, one shot to the heart without breaking the skin. There's no one that can hurt you like you can. There's people that you thought would understand when you say God is leading me here. But you would discover, based off how important you are to their program, they'll probably say some very hurtful things. I want to warn you, because that does not change the fact that God is transitioning you into the greater. Get ready. You are in the transition of a lifetime. I want to finish this verse off again. It says, and said unto him, now here's Ahimelech saying to David, I'm accustomed to seeing you, and I'm accustomed to seeing you with a crowd. I know the crowd that you run with. But notice what the text says. And he said unto David, and said unto him, why art thou alone and no man with you? Here's the other thing about the transition. God is not going to alert the people that you are accustomed to him alerting. And then there's some people that used to be, or you used to be in a crowd with. This season of your life, they are going to fall off. Let me say it again. This season of your life, they are going to fall off, because this is such an important part of God's desire for your life. In this transition, he's moving you into greater, and God does not want to compete with the other voices. Let me say it once again, because you got to get this. God will not compete with the other voices. So he removed all the influences out of your life. Ahimelech say, why are you here alone? I'm accustomed to seeing you with a crowd. But this next season won't be a crowd season. You're going to stand on your own, because what God is doing through you has not been done. And so you're going to have to hear a strategic strategy plan from God, and he does not need anybody to influence what he is about to say. He's not alerting everybody about this one. Everybody can't walk this one with you. This is going to be some days that you're going to be challenged because you're going to be alone, and you are accustomed to having people that can understand and agree with you. But this is not that season. This is a greater season. God is moving you from the back to the front. He's giving you directions right now. There's a word inside of your mouth that you are to speak. God is beginning something with you. Are you listening to me? This is why this transitional season is so different than any other season. He's putting you in isolation. Number one, God puts us in isolation, meaning he tells us to go alone. And then he brings us out of isolation into separation. What does that mean? Even though the first call, I didn't let you share with anybody. But when I let you out of isolation, I bring you into separation. There's only certain people you can allow to touch this. So you're in a transition season. God is doing something incredible in your life. Do not relent because it's a different season. This is unusual because you're doing something unusual. I'm excited about your future. Grab a hold to this thing in faith. Yes, see yourself as God sees you. You are important to the move of God for this next season of your life. This is why you're transitioning. Some of you are already there. Some of you are about to enter into it. Don't be afraid in this season. The world needs you now. The body of Christ needs you now. You've been groomed on the backside of the desert. God is bringing you to the forefront. Embrace the moment. I'm excited. I pray God's grace upon you as you transition into your new life. Pastor G is out.